Hello guys, it is the Gaming Weasel back again with another video. In today's video we're gonna be talking about some tips and tricks and info in Dauntless that's gonna be really useful for you guys, new players as well, and maybe some things that the older players didn't know, but they probably did. Now, there's a decent amount of tips here that I want to give you guys, and we're going to be starting off with the actual, the moment you drop on the island, what I prefer you do. Now, what do I prefer you do? Is take at least 10 minutes, or, well, not at least, a maximum of 10 minutes gathering just materials. So gathering flowers, plants, gathering literally everything you possibly can on that actual island. So, gathering these plants and ores, what is it going to allow you? It's going to allow you to create flasks and potions that are going to help you and make it easier on you killing the actual enemy. Now, these potions vary and all of the abilities are different. Now, my alchemy level isn't that high, so I don't have a lot of potions, but I'm going to be talking about them briefly when we go further on. And one thing that I wanted to get you, so at least 10 minutes, because 20 minutes is really it's a lot of time to actually kill the behemoth, and it's not going to be that hard killing it in 20 minutes. Now, one thing that I would prefer you do is cut down behemoth parts as much as you possibly can. So that's my another tip, is just strike down certain parts of the behemoth to get more parts for you to actually get more armor and get all the weapons that you desire. So the more parts that you get, the more weapons you can craft. So for example, if you really like the axe and, for example, sword, and you're not going to be able to craft both of them if you don't gather enough parts. Now, striking down enemy, I guess damaging enemy parts or behemoth parts is gonna allow you to them. It's gonna make them drop the parts that you need to crafting more armor and weapons as well. So try to not kill it right away, because I've seen in my beginner days, a couple of days ago when I played, that was literally my first few hours playing. I've killed them faster than I actually got parts. So sometimes I was like stuck in a loop where I needed to fight one over and over again, because I always killed it instead of just getting the parts off of it. So that was a thing that I realized. So cutting down enemy parts is really good. Now, one thing that you always have to keep in mind is your health. So dodging is another tip. You're gonna dodge a lot. You need to dodge a lot. If you play the game, well, when you play the game more and more, you're gonna realize how the enemy moves and how the behemoth actually acts and what are his attacking patterns. So realizing that, it's gonna be much easier to dodge. Now, some weapons are easier to dodge than others, like the chain blades. It's really easy to dodge with that. The sword as well, and now the axes. The war spikes and the hammer is a little bit difficult. You kind of get stuck in animations and it's kind of sluggish, but I do still use it because of the great damage that you can actually deal with those weapons. Trying to dodge is really difficult for me, at least. I mean, I do dodge a lot. It's just sometimes it feels a little bit clunky and slow and sluggish. And sometimes I do even dodge, but then I get hit by the enemy somehow and magically. So that is one of the things that keeps happening. But try to dodge as much as possible, because you're not going to have a lot of health items on you at the time. Now, crafting potions is going to allow you to make that much easier. Now, not dodging, but surviving. You can craft armor, for example. You can, well, not craft armor, but you can craft potions that are gonna reduce your damage for 3 hits. You also have that's gonna increase your attack speed, attack damage. So attack speed is good with axes and hammers as well, and well, literally everything, but just really useful with those weapons, with swords as well. And for example, you have more damage, which is really good for hammers and axes, because you can do a lot of damage with those, and war pikes as well. So crafting potions is always really good, and you need to be filled up all the time. So gathering those resources at the beginning of the game is going to be very important, because you're going to be needing potions to fight stronger enemies. I do use up at least 3 or 4 of my potions when fighting a strong enemy, even in squad. It's really hard. Some enemies are, because of their movement, and it's really hard for me to predict where they're gonna go. So that's another thing that I would prefer you do, is well, playing more. You're gonna really accomplish that by playing more, learning the enemy's patterns or the behemoth's patterns, but that's really another cool thing. So if you play behemoth more, you're gonna learn its patterns much easier. And moving on to the next tip is elemental damages. Now, I'm gonna make a video separate to this, so elemental damage, how it works, which one's stronger for which one. But there's 3 elemental damages or debuffs that you can get. It's fire, ice, and lightning. Fire sets you on fire, does damage over time, and if you roll, you're gonna take less damage. Well, not take less damage, but the duration is gonna be much less. Ice freezes you in place. You can free yourself 3 ways. The actual behemoth frees you, a friend freezes you out, or freeze you out, and you just wait for the timer to run out. And lightning will enable you, well, disable you, not being able to use items and not being to revive your teammates and interact with items. So lightning is quite bad. Also with fire, those 2 I think are much worse than ice. But with ice you can take much more damage from the behemoth. Now those are the 3 debuffs, and those were my tips. And now finding the behemoth is pretty goddamn easy. I don't really have to give you any tips. If you see birds flying away or goats running away, that usually indicates that the enemy is near. Also, another thing is the music turns or stops completely and then turns into like dramatic music, fighting music. So that's one way of knowing that you're actually entering the behemoth's lair. And sometimes you can just see him off of the spawn. So in some maps you can just literally spawn, go a little bit straight, and you can see him right away. So yeah, nonetheless, that has been my tips video. If I missed something or if I didn't say something correctly, well, I most likely did. Well, leave it in the comment section below and correct me. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more content. And I will see you guys on my next one. The Gaming Weasel over and out. Peace.